State of Affairs is pleased to welcome Senator Steven Oroho, who represents the 24th Legislative District, which is where, Senator?
Up in northwest corner of New Jersey. It's got all of Sussex County, 11 municipalities in Warren, and Mount Olive in Morris.
So now let's talk about this.
It's the largest in the state.
Yeah, yep, and folks there are just as concerned as everywhere else in the state about tax policy. Mm-hmm. We've talked to you many times before, and you've talked about, hey, our tax policy doesn't make sense in the state. What does that mean?
First of all, we put so much of the burden on residents as opposed to, not putting more of the burden on out-of-staters. Like, for example, we talked about the Transportation Trust Fund.
Right.
And right there, we had a major tax restructuring, and people were annoyed at the gas tax, understandably. But quite frankly, it was all going to property taxes. So what New Jersey, unfortunately for years, on a bipartisan basis, both Republicans and Democrats, was a debt, spend, and hide. And it was raising debt,
sure,
spending, out of control for things. And it was hidden because, like in the Transportation Trust Fund, it was the debt all falling on the backs of New Jersey residents and falling to property taxes.
Unfair?
Very, very unfair. Very unfair.
Let me ask you this. Let's talk about tax fairness. We've had Governor Murphy on when he was a candidate. We'll have him back in early 2019, talk about fiscal policy in the state. The governor has talked about New Jersey being the innovation state and looking to attract folks to come here. Great state for innovation, great state to do business. How could you possibly be against that?
No, I don't think anybody's against that.
What's the challenge?
The challenge is, how do you make the state affordable or competitive for capital? We had Amazon.
As of we're doing today, I don't want to date ourselves. We're doing the Jackie, what's the date? I know we're doing it in the middle of November. It looks like we lost that deal.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with this?
Well, first of all, it's companies who want to invest capital to have a decent rate of return. And capital is like water. It follows the path of least resistance to success. And the cost of government and the tax policies all have a factor in whether you're competitive to people want to invest capital. And I've always said, capital equals investment, investment equals jobs. And when we have more people working and more jobs being created, New Jersey does terrific.
But Senator, let me ask you this. Are we saying that no matter what happens with the governor and the folks who are trying to promote this innovation initiative, and by the way, we have a relationship with Choose New Jersey, which is very much a part of this, are you saying no matter how effective the marketing is, the tax policy or the perception of the state trumps, sorry for using that expression, that whole effort?
It could, depending upon how much value people think they get from the investment they're going to make.
Define the value. Is it ROI?
That's part of it. The return on investment, certainly, because that's something that's easily measured. But there's a lot of other intangibles that go with it. We got great assets. We do. We got our New Jersey workforce. We have an excellent education system.
Access to airports, transportation system.
Our location's great. Our location's great. But our cost of government and our cost, whether it be fees and taxes, make it a lot of times too unattractive for somebody to invest here. Now, we can easily get that value back.
Easily? Hold on. We had the Senate president here, Senator Steve Adubato here with Senator Oroho, who's very much involved in fiscal policy in the state. We had the Senate president talking about his initiative.
Yeah.
Were you part of that?
I was a co-chair.
You were the co-chair of that initiative.
Great job.
Yeah. And the senator and you and others.
Very hard.
They were looking to cut the cost of government. And one of the things they looked at was municipal consolidation, shared services, merging local communities. You say?
The idea of shared services, we need as many shared services as we can
Should we force it? Should the state mandate it, Senator?
The idea of mandating, because smaller communities, we actually found out, and Mark Pfeiffer, who's an expert in this area, found out that a lot of times the small communities are more efficient. They're actually less per capita. However, the idea of shared services, and one of the other big issues in there, was the regionalization within school districts. We could go from over 600 school districts to less than half, or just about half of that.
Which would do what with property taxes?
Which would help bend the cost curve of property taxes we have now, because it would help reduce the administrative costs and whatnot. Because let's face it, on a K-12 district, everybody's going to the same high school.
That's right.
But I think Senate President Sweeney had done a terrific job. He's out there working extremely hard. When I said easily, it's because the assets are always going to be the same. We got the workforce that is great. We have a location that's great. We have an infrastructure that is terrific, and now they're going to properly maintain it.
Let me ask you this. We have some of your other colleagues coming in today on the Republican side of the aisle, and I feel compelled to ask them, and also Democrats, others, on this question. President Trump, as he enters his third year in office, a little over halfway through as we get to this point, how's he doing?
I think you look at the results. The unemployment rate is down significantly. Was it less than 4%? I think the results are there. I would wish the rhetoric would be different.
The tweeting?
Well, the tweeting, but the rhetoric on many sides.
Well, let's do the president right now.
Not just the president.
Senator, I've known you for a few years. I've never known you to be respectfully a name caller. I've never known you to be someone who demonizes your opponent.
My mother would be mad at me.
Well, my mother would be as well, and that's why I don't. But my point is this. It's not about partisanship at all. What it is about tone and tenor and demeanor, executive demeanor, if you will.
Right.
You don't conduct yourself that way.
I don't, and I try to do it by example. And I try not to, go personally attacking anybody, because that's not the way I was
But isn't that
raised.
also part of the way you've been able to work with folks on the other side of the aisle?
Absolutely.
Well, then what advice would you have for the president in that regard?
I would actually, my advice to the president would be, we want to be classy Republicans. I want to be a classy Republican. It doesn't matter in how you treat people. Words do matter. The results, you can't argue with the results either. I mean,
you mean mostly economic policy?
Economic policy, and the idea that, listen, look, all the different trade deals and whatnot. America has always helped everybody, right? So let's make sure we have fair trade. But at the same time, the tone, the tenor, that does matter. I mean, it does. One of the most important
few seconds left,
books,
go ahead.
One of the most important books I ever read was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Great book.
Right? Excellent book. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living is another one. But how to Win Friends and Influence People. And you know what? People want to be treated with respect.
On that note, Senator Steven Oroho is from the 24th Legislative District. He's been engaged in fiscal policy in the state and dealing with trying to reduce cost, if you will, and try to keep taxes down as well. But I'll tell you what, when we continue to talk about the governor's initiative as it relates to this innovation state, we'll have you and your colleagues on as well. But as always, you're a gentleman, Senator, and we appreciate the civility of the discourse.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Stay right there.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Adubato. This is State of Affairs. Let's continue the conversation. So follow me on Twitter at Steve Adubato. See you next time. Promise, from the NJTV studio. See you then.
State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. State of Affairs with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Agnes Veris NJTV studio at 2 Gateway. Funding has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, United Airlines, Atlantic Health System, New Jersey Resources, Choose New Jersey, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, and by the Northward Center.